Stud Muffin 1986 here. I am going to be doing a video this time. I did one of the top 10 most played tanks in World of Tanks Blitz. This time I thought it'd be fun to do one of the top 10 least most played tanks in the game. And I've got some of my reasons on why I think these are the least. There's a couple in here I'm not probably going to include just because they were for events. They're not in the game really anymore. I'll let you know which ones those are. So just going into the top 10 least played tanks in Blitz. Now, you may have some of these, and you may be thinking to yourself as you see some of these on the list, like, dang, yeah, that is so true. I haven't played with that tank in forever. And to be honest with you, when I looked at this list, I wasn't really that surprised when I started looking at these tanks and just trying to remember the last time I had played with them. So let's just dive right in. So first on the list, going from more played to the least played, number 10 comes in as the Type 1 Chi-He Tier 4 Japanese medium tank. Now, I couldn't tell you when the last time it was when I had played this thing. It has been a long time. I think maybe around the time when the Japanese Tech Tree line first came out a long time ago, and I haven't played with this tank since. I couldn't tell you the first thing about this thing. I think it might have been slow. I can't remember, but obviously it's on here ranked. And if you're playing ever, tier 4, I mean, especially these lower tiers, especially also after update 5.5 when they changed so much with the lower tiers. I mean, this could be something that just makes sense. That maybe a lot of people don't play some of these lower tiers, but not all of them quite fit. Some of these are. We'll kind of just go in and see. But this one ranked as number 10 on the list. Number 9 is the Tier 4 Chinese M4A5 Stuart. Couldn't tell you the last time I played this one either, ladies and gentlemen. This one, I mean, obviously just a lower tier. And I don't really play lower tiers like that much. I haven't, that's the thing is, it's just, I think that when I remember it from when I did play it a while ago, it seemed like a pretty average tank, but who wants to play something that's pretty Joe Schmo average-ish? Like, people are going to play with the tanks that they're going to have the most fun with. So I think, that's kind of where this one falls into place in my opinion. Number 8 is the American Tier 5 Sherman 5. Not a whole lot to say about this one. This one is not really in the game so much anymore. I think it was in the tech trees removed. I believe it's now a collectible as shown on the BlitzStars data. So this one, yeah, I was coming across and doing a little research on it, and the title of one video I had seen is The Miserable Sherman 5. So maybe that explains enough with that one there. Next on the list is number 7, which also used to be in the tech tree and is no longer in there, is turned into a collectible, and probably a lot of people have sold it for gold, and you just don't ever see it very often anymore, which is the SU76 Russian Tank Destroyer. Yeah, I mean, just that's the thing is a lot of these lower tiers, after they got changed to collectibles and there were so many other premiums coming out in the game, a lot of people just probably sold these things off. And a lot of these tanks, honestly, I don't even know, being that they're also the least played tanks in Blitz right now. I don't even know if I've really ever seen these. I know I've played some lower tiers, especially with the new Italian line out. And, just in the time that I was playing some of those lower tiers, I don't think I had seen any of these even once. So this one, a collectible, once again, used to be in the tech tree and is now gone. Number 6 is a fairly recent one that has come out in the game as a premium. the Tier 8 German VK168.01P. And it was actually ranked as one of the rarest. I actually made a video on this, and this actually ranked as one of the rarest tanks in the game. And that explains why that would probably also rank on this list as well. It's also one of the least played tanks in the game, and I think a lot of it was I think appealed more to the newer players. There was already the VK100 in the game, and maybe there was players thinking like, why would I buy this thing? The VK168 also has a massive weak cupola on top. It's not very maneuverable as it shouldn't be. It's a massive, fat, heavy, huge punching bag. Maybe some players after they got it realized just how big of a punching bag this thing was, and maybe didn't have the best experience with it if they did. So who knows? But yeah, this is one of the tank's least played. It's been in the game for a little bit. It's definitely ranking up there. And then number 5 is the Tier 6 Chinese Destroyer, the WZ-131 GFT. This one, I'm not exactly sure. I don't even have this one. I don't understand. I have come across this thing. I don't think this thing has very good armor, and I think the higher tiers maybe of more interest to the players. I don't really have a good reason on this one on why it's the least played. I think the other tiers are a little better, obviously, as they're higher tiers. But yeah, I mean, this one, the Tier 6, ranks number 5. Number 4 is the Valentine AT, the British Tier 3 tank destroyer, which I haven't seen this one in a while. Used to be in the tech tree. It's no longer. It's now a collectible. And I remember when this thing had the worst. It had like this weird great hull armor, just like the Valentine Premium that was in the tank, but it had this paper thin piece of crap, massive flat plate in front of it, like this huge face in front of where the cannon was. That was just a big weak spot, and just didn't really quite understand what was going on there. The original Tier 3 that's on the list is a tank that is no longer in the game. It was actually just for a special event, so I'm not really going to count it as number 3. For those that remember, it was the World War I MK1 Heavy tank, a Tier 1 event. Once again, happened a while ago, so obviously it would be one of the most least played tanks in the game, so wouldn't really count that one. I'm actually going to count, for this list that I'm going over, number 3 is the M4 FL10, which hasn't been in the game that long, but I'm maybe kind of surprised that it's also up here. It's newer than the VK 168.01. I wouldn't put a whole lot of weight on maybe why this one isn't played as much. I know there's been some players that I've heard of that have had this thing that have really had their struggles with it. It was a tank that was the very first auto-reloading tank in the game, and typically when that happens, Wargaming will, I've noticed this even with some, but they'll release some of these really poor, maybe performing but unique, that maybe the tech tree version is not out yet, but just to get you to buy, and that's, I think, maybe what kind of happened. But I don't know. There's players that could very well like this thing. I didn't buy it. I actually was on the fence of buying it. But yeah, that one ranked is number 3. The Tier 7 Premium, that's the Hybrid Nation. And then number 2 is the French Tier 4 B1. This one, honestly, like, I haven't played this one. Like I said, I don't play like lower tiers very much. This one, I did have a variant of it, and I did end up selling it because I just never played the thing. It was a German premium tier 4, very similar to this one. I think it was the B2, and it, you know, just very slow. It didn't even have very good penetration. I mean, I didn't really care for it that much. I didn't think it was that enjoyable of a tank to play with, and so I mean, wow. As for this one is still in the game in the tech tree, and it ranked number 2. I mean, that is pretty bad. So yeah, that's the number 2 one on the list, the tier 4 French B1. So maybe watch out for that thing. I think the players are saying something here. And overall, number 1, this one actually did make an appearance in the worst performing tanks in Blitz, and it's also on this list as well as the least number 1 played tank in Blitz. See if you can take a moment to guess what that is. But here goes. It is the tier 4 French tank destroyer, Samua SAU40. This thing is a pretty bad tank. This thing has the worst stats as seen in one of my previous videos when I had ranked the top 10 worst performing tanks in Blitz. And this one also ranks as number 1 as the least played tank in Blitz. I mean, even worse than tanks that aren't even in the game anymore. Like, how crazy is that? I remember playing with this thing, and it was actually before update 5.5. This thing used to have a pretty derpy cannon. Now this thing is just obviously not loved, the most least loved tank in Blitz, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. This is Stud Muffin 1986. You guys stay cool and keep tanking, and if you would love to become a patron for $1 a month and help me out, just to support the channel would be great. Wife might also support me a little more too. You guys take care.